All right, let's dive into something fascinating today. Zazen meditation.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited about this one.
We're exploring an article from Healthline called Zazen Meditation, Benefits, Types, and More.
Awesome.
And, I was reading this and I was thinking, this is so much more than just like, a way to chill out.
It really is. It goes way deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's really about connecting with your true nature.
Hmm.
And the Healthline article, it highlights all the benefits like better concentration, well-being, and even like self-understanding.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's define exactly what Zazen is.
Right.
It's a type of sitting meditation, but what makes it different from, other kinds of meditation?
Yeah, so it comes from Buddhist teachings, but
Hmm.
like you don't have to be Buddhist to do it or get something out of it.
Right.
The main idea with Zazen is to be aware, but not judge. So you're not trying to shut off your thoughts completely, but just watch them go by without getting caught up in them.
So it's like you're noticing them, but you're not like getting tangled up in them.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like watching cars on a busy street. You see them, but you don't hop in every single one.
That's a perfect way to put it. And it's not just about thoughts. It's the same with like physical sensations too.
Hmm.
It's all about being present in your body right here, right now.
The article mentions posture. They say posture is a big deal in Zazen.
Yeah.
So why is that? Does it have to be like some super complicated position that's really uncomfortable?
Not at all. People usually think of the full lotus, but the article says you can do it in other ways too.
Oh.
Half lotus, Burmese, or even sitting in a chair.
Hmm.
What really matters is that you find a posture that lets you be both grounded and open.
Grounded and open. That's kind of interesting. What does that actually feel like?
Well, like think about a tree. Its roots are planted firmly in the ground, but its branches, they reach freely up to the sky, right?
Hmm.
That balance between being stable and being open, that's what's important in Zazen.
Got it. So it's more than just a physical position. It's almost an attitude you're trying to embody.
Exactly.
Now, what about these mudras, these hand positions I keep hearing about?
Uh-huh.
Are they just for show?
Not at all. They're more like energy seals. They may seem small, but they help you concentrate and become more aware.
Interesting. So there's a real purpose to those hand positions. It's not just about aesthetics.
Right.
Are there any particular mudras that are like good for beginners?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A common one is the cosmic mudra. So your left hand is in your lap, palm up, and your right hand goes on top, also palm up, with your thumbs just gently touching.
Okay.
This mudra helps with feeling balanced and grounded, which is great for beginners.
It's fascinating how all these little things have a purpose.
Yeah.
Now, the article also talks about breath awareness.
Right.
How does that work in Zazen?
The breath, it's like your anchor to the present moment. You don't try to control it, you just observe it. Feel how it naturally moves, how your abdomen rises and falls. It's so simple, but it's powerful for calming the mind.
Just thinking about it, I'm already feeling a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
But, realistically, my mind is going to wander, right? Like, let's be real. It happens to everybody.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Even people who've been practicing for a long time, their minds wander.
Right.
The important thing is not to freak out about it.
Yeah.
Just see those thoughts as like, clouds passing by.
Mm.
Notice them without judgment and gently bring your focus back to your breath.
So it's about being patient with yourself. And, that's a skill we could all use more of in meditation and in life in general.
Absolutely. And, the Healthline article brings up something really interesting.
Yeah.
There isn't just one way to do Zazen. They say there are actually 5 different types, each with a different focus.
Wait, 5 types of Zazen? Okay, now you've really got me curious.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these different approaches.
All right, so let's start with what they call ordinary Zazen or Bompu Zen.
Okay.
But don't let that name fool you. It's really where things get interesting.
Ordinary Zazen, huh? I'm hooked already. What's so special about Bompu Zen?
Well, it's like the base, the foundation of the whole practice. Think of it like building a house. Bompu Zen is laying the groundwork.
Okay.
It's for everyone, and it's all about getting a clear, calm mind by focusing on the breath and being aware of those thoughts and feelings we talked about without judging them.
So it's like building that inner resilience you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
But how does that actually work?
By training your mind to see your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. Like imagine you're in a stressful situation.
Right.
Bompu Zen helps you stay grounded so you can respond more clearly, less reactively. That's what resilience is all about.
So it's not just about feeling calm during meditation. It's about building skills that help you through tough times in life.
Precisely. And this is just the start. Remember, we have 5 types of Zazen.
Right.
We've got 4 more to go, and each one offers a unique path for self-discovery.
All right. You've definitely sparked my curiosity. Let's dive into the next type. What have we got?
Okay, well, if Banpu Zen is like the solid foundation, then Gedo Zen is more like venturing out into the unknown.
Okay.
It's called the outside way because it draws from stuff outside of traditional Buddhism,
No.
things like yoga, Confucian practices, even Christian contemplation.
Outside way, that sounds kind of rebellious.
In a way, it is.
Hmm.
Gedo Zen is like mixing things up. It blends all these different spiritual practices to reach the same goals of self-discovery and enlightenment. And get this, the article even suggests that you could develop special powers and skills through Gedo Zen.
Hold on, special powers. I've got to hear more about
We'll
it.
definitely get back to Gedo Zen and all its potential.
Okay.
But first, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt your perspective shift or felt a sense of calm during meditation, even if it's not Zazen?
Hmm. That's a good question. You know what? Now that you mention it, yeah, there have been times when I'm meditating and it's like all the thoughts just kind of disappear. And for a second, there's this amazing stillness. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's really powerful.
That's exactly what Banpu Zen helps you cultivate.
Hmm.
It trains your mind to settle, to see through all the noise of your thoughts.
Yeah,
And from that stillness, a deeper awareness can emerge.
that makes a lot of sense. It's like the stillness makes space for something new to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've talked about Bambu Zen as the foundation. You mentioned Ghetto Zen being a bit more adventurous, being the outside way.
Right.
What makes it that way?
Well, it incorporates things from outside of traditional Buddhist practices.
Hmm.
You might find elements of yoga, Confucian rituals, even some Christian contemplative practices mix into Gedo Zen.
So it's like taking the basic ideas of Zazen and seeing how they show up in different cultures and traditions.
Yeah.
I really like that. It reminds me of how music can be expressed in so many different genres, but like the core elements of melody and rhythm are always there.
That's a great analogy. And a really interesting thing about Gedo Zen is this focus on developing special abilities through practice.
Okay, you've got to tell me more about that. What kind of special abilities are we talking about?
Well, think about things like heightened intuition, being more aware of energy, even like a deeper understanding of how everything is connected. It's like tapping into this potential that's within all of us.
I can see why they call it the outside way. It definitely stretches the boundaries of what people usually think about meditation.
It really does. And even though these abilities might sound mystical, they're rooted in the idea that the mind is much more powerful than we give it credit for.
It makes you wonder, what are we truly capable of if we can tap into that power? Okay, before we get too lost in the world of special abilities, let's move on to the next type of Zazen.
Right.
What's next on the list?
Shoujo Zen, which means small vehicle.
Hmm.
This one focuses on personal enlightenment, like really understanding yourself and what causes your own suffering.
So it's a more internal journey.
Exactly. Shoujo Zen encourages you to look inward and explore how your own mind works.
Okay,
It's about understanding the roots of your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior.
that sounds intense, but also like really valuable. Is it kind of like therapy, but with a more spiritual angle?
There are definitely some similarities. Both therapy and Shoujo Zen emphasize self-awareness and understanding the patterns that shape our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But Shoujo Zen takes it a step further by encouraging you to actually experience those patterns and break free from them.
It's like you're not just talking about your problems, you're going deep into what's causing them in the first place.
Right, and that can lead to some really profound insights and changes.
Okay, so we've got Banpu Zen for building resilience, Gedo Zen for exploring our hidden potential, and Shoujo Zen for some deep inner work. I'm really starting to see how each of these types offers a different path for growth and self-discovery. What about the fourth one, Daijo Zen?
This one's called a great practice, and it shifts the focus from just the individual to the collective. Daijo Zen emphasizes how interconnected we all are.
So it's about recognizing that we're all connected, like that saying, no man is an island.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond just thinking about yourself and realizing that what you do affects others and the world around you.
I really connect with that. Have you ever noticed how when you feel connected to others, your own problems don't seem as big? Like widening your perspective helps you see things differently.
That's a great point, and that's what Daijo Zen encourages, expanding your awareness beyond just yourself and connecting with something bigger.
It makes you wonder, what would our world be like if everyone practiced Daijo Zen? Imagine everyone feeling truly connected and responsible for each other's well-being.
It's a beautiful vision, isn't it? And it starts with each of us cultivating that feeling of connection within ourselves.
Hmm.
Now, are you ready for the last type of Zazen? This one's a bit of a head scratcher.
Bring it on. After the outside way and special abilities, I'm ready for anything.
All right.
What's so special about this last one?
Sayojo Zen is known as the highest vehicle, and it's all about just being,
Hmm.
letting go of striving, searching, and that need to control everything.
Wait, just being. That sounds almost impossible. Our minds are always going, always trying to figure things out, always wanting more. How can you just be?
That's the interesting thing about Sayojo Zen.
Hmm.
It's about recognizing that everything is already perfect as it is, right now, in this moment. It's about going with the flow of life and trusting that things will unfold naturally.
So it's not about reaching some perfect state of being. It's about accepting that we're already perfect, even with all our flaws and imperfections.
Exactly. It's about letting go of the idea that we're separate and realizing the wholeness that's already within each of us.
That's a deep concept. It makes you think about all the ways we try to change ourselves, fix ourselves, when maybe we just need to accept ourselves as we are.
That's the core of Sayojo Zen,
Mhm.
letting go of the struggle and appreciating the beauty of just being.
Wow, we've explored all these amazing types of Zazen, each one a unique path to self-discovery and enlightenment. This has really opened my eyes to how deep and rich this practice is.
And we've only just scratched the surface. What's really amazing about Zazen is that it's not just a theory, it's something you do.
Mhm.
And through doing it, these ideas come to life in a way that words can't fully capture.
You know, we've talked a lot about the inner benefits of Zazen, like building resilience, self-awareness, and feeling connected to everything.
Right.
But the article also mentioned that Zazen can have a positive effect on our outer world, our relationships, our work, our whole approach to life.
You're absolutely right. And that's where the true power of Zazen lies. It bridges the gap between our inner world and our outer world.
Hmm.
It's not just about feeling peaceful when you're meditating. It's about bringing that peace and clarity into every part of your life.
So how do we do that? How do we actually take those Zazen principles and make them a real part of our everyday lives?
Well, one simple but powerful thing you can do is pay attention to your breath throughout the day.
Mm.
It's a way to ground yourself in the present moment.
So even if we can't sit down and have a formal meditation session, we can still get into that Zazen mindset just by being aware of our breath.
Exactly. And you can extend that awareness to your body as well. Notice how you're feeling physically.
Mm.
Are you tense, relaxed,
Mhm.
energetic? Just by tuning into those physical sensations, you can start to be more present.
It's like we're constantly checking in with ourselves, reminding ourselves to be present and aware.
Right.
But what about those times when life gets crazy, deadlines, responsibilities, all those things that pull us away from the present moment?
Yeah.
How do we stay grounded when that happens?
That's where practicing non-judgmental awareness comes in.
Okay.
Remember those passing clouds we talked about?
Right.
Well, our thoughts and emotions are kind of like those clouds. They're constantly moving, sometimes stormy, sometimes calm.
So the idea is to just observe them without getting pulled in.
Exactly. Don't get down on yourself for having certain thoughts or feelings. Just notice them, acknowledge them, and let them go.
That sounds a lot easier said than done. Our minds are so quick to judge, especially when we're stressed.
It definitely takes practice, but the more you do it, the more space you create between you and your thoughts and feelings.
Mhm.
And in that space, you can find freedom and clarity.
It's like you're building a buffer, so those thoughts and emotions don't control your reaction.
Precisely. And that buffer helps you respond to situations with more wisdom and compassion.
This is making so much sense. It's like Zazen isn't just about sitting there meditating, it's about learning to go through life with more presence, awareness, and kindness, both to ourselves and to others.
You got it. And the great thing is you can apply these principles to any part of your life, relationships, work, even your hobbies.
So it's not about squeezing Zazen into a certain time or activity, it's about integrating those principles into everything we do.
Exactly. Imagine bringing that mindful awareness to your conversations with loved ones, really listening to what they're saying without interrupting, without judgment.
Hmm.
Notice their body language, their tone of voice. Just be present with them.
It's like we're giving them the gift of our full attention, which is one of the most valuable gifts we can give.
It really is. And imagine bringing that same mindfulness to your work. Focus on what you're doing. Find enjoyment in the process and let go of that need to control the outcome.
It's about being fully engaged with what we're doing instead of letting our minds drift to the past or future.
Right. And imagine extending that awareness to the world around you. See the beauty in nature. Appreciate acts of kindness from strangers. Be thankful for the simple things.
It's about shifting our perspective from focusing on what's missing to seeing all the good that's already there.
Exactly. And the more we cultivate this awareness, the more we realize that peace, joy, and fulfillment aren't things we have to chase after. They're already within us, waiting to be uncovered.
That's a powerful thought. It's like Zazen is about rediscovering our true nature, a nature that's already whole and complete.
It is. And the more connected we are to that true nature, the more we naturally share those qualities of peace, joy, and fulfillment with the world.
So it's not just personal transformation, it's about making the world a better place.
Exactly. It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
The more peace we have within, the more peace we spread to others.
This has been an amazing exploration of Zazen. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of it and how it can change our lives and the world.
I agree.
And the best part is, this is just the beginning. The more you explore Zazen, the more you'll uncover its depths and power.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up, I'm curious, do you have any personal experience with Zazen or any other type of meditation?
Actually, I do. I started practicing Zazen a few years ago, and
Ah,
I was going through a rough patch. Work was crazy, my personal life was a mess, and I felt totally overwhelmed.
hmm.
A friend suggested I try meditation and told me about Zazen. Honestly, I wasn't so sure about it at first.
Mm.
I thought it was all chanting and incense and maybe even levitating or something.
I think a lot of people have that idea about meditation.
Right. But I was really looking for some peace of mind. So I decided to give it a try.
Oh, okay.
I found a Zazen group nearby and went to my first sitting.
Yeah.
It was weird. My legs were killing me and my mind was all over the place.
Mm.
But there was also this, like, strange calmness underneath it all.
It sounds like a pretty typical first experience with Zazen.
Yeah.
It's not always just bliss and serenity, especially when you're starting out.
Totally. But I kept going back week after week, and slowly things started to change.
Mm.
I became more aware of my thoughts and emotions, less reactive to stress, and more present in everyday life.
Mm.
It wasn't like a magic overnight thing, more like a gradual unfolding.
Sounds like you really felt those ripple effects we were talking about. How Zazen can change not only how we feel inside, but also how we interact with the world around us.
Absolutely. And the more I practiced, the more I realized Zazen wasn't about running away from reality, but actually facing it head on.
Mm.
It's about learning to be present with the good and the bad, with everything.
That's a powerful realization. It's not about creating this perfect, blissful life. It's about navigating the ups and downs with more awareness and grace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Zazen is so important today.
Yeah.
We're always bombarded with distractions, demands, and pressure. Zazen gives us a way to find stillness in all the chaos,
Mhm.
to reconnect with ourselves, and to tap into this inner peace that's always there, no matter what's going on around us.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Now, before we wrap things up, I have one last question for you.
Okay?
Out of the 5 types of Zazen we talked about, which one speaks to you the most and why?
That's a tough one. They all have something special to offer.
Right.
But I think for me, it's Zen, the great practice that really resonates. The emphasis on interconnectedness, it really aligns with my own experiences and values. It reminds me that we're all part of something much bigger and that our actions matter, not just for ourselves, but for everyone and everything.
That's a beautiful sentiment, and it seems especially relevant now with all the challenges we face that need us to work together and feel a sense of responsibility for each other.
I agree. And I think Zen gives us a really powerful way to develop compassion, empathy, and a sense of connection, which are so crucial for building a more just and harmonious world.
This deep dive has been incredibly enlightening. I feel like I've learned so much about Zazen and its potential to change our lives and make the world a better place.
Me too. I hope our listener feels the same way.
I think they do. As we close out this episode, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. We've explored all these benefits of Zazen. Becoming more resilient, developing self-awareness, feeling connected to everything, even the possibility of discovering hidden abilities. But really, Zazen isn't about achieving some goal or becoming a perfect meditator. It's about the journey. It's about showing up day after day, breath after breath, and
Yeah.
cultivating a more mindful and compassionate way of being in the world.
That's beautifully said. The real transformation happens in those moments of quiet, those moments of just being.
So to all our listeners, keep exploring Zazen.
Yeah.
Find a teacher, join a group, or just take a few minutes each day to be still and connect with your breath. You might be amazed by what you find.
And remember, Even if your mind wanders,
Yeah.
even if your legs fall asleep, even if you fall asleep,
Mm.
it's all part of the practice.
Mm.
Be kind to yourself, be patient, and trust the process.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.